everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Zamora two-player podcast. I am your player one, Garrett Zamora, and I am joined again with my brother Matt. We had a bit of a break after that 7-hour discussion we had. Kind of a bit of a cool down for both of us.
That was kind of insane. We knew it was gonna happen, and it's like, okay, we need to start like right after dinner because this is going to go till the hours of the late night kind of thing. So,
and I was just thinking about it too. I was like, oh, I only uploaded that like 2 weeks ago, but we recorded it like 2 weeks before that because I think I dulled them out like once a week or so. So yeah, it's been a little while since we sat down to record. So we don't have as in-depth of a discussion this time prepared, obviously. But I have a couple games that I was playing before Rebirth came out that I didn't really get to talk to because we did like 2 or 3 episodes pre-Rebirth.
Leading up to it.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about those. And then we will talk about FF7 a little bit because, come on, of course we are.
You know what podcast you're on right now.
Yeah. And just because, Matt, you've been going through the trophies for Rebirth, so I just want to I don't know exactly where you are. I have an idea because based on one of the last ones you told me. But yeah, I just want to see just, any thoughts on or frustrations or moments with those trophies.
Totally.
And then we were talking because I was playing Diablo 4, and I have a weird thing where like when I play Diablo 4, I have to play it a very specific way, or Diablo in general. And I was kind of like, it feels normal to me. I'm like, no, this is just how you play this game. But it's like, wait, I'm the weird one. Like I play it, I have these weird rules that I put on myself for specific games that are just really, really bizarre and obscure sometimes. But so I was talking to Matt about that, and so we both compiled a short list of we just thought it'd be fun to talk about like these weird self-imposed rules that we give ourselves for like very specific games or just weird things that it's like, no, when I play this, I have to do it this way. Like there's no other way for me to play this game. So that'd be fun. And I don't know what you have, and I didn't tell you what I have. So we'll have an earnest discussion about those to see what weird rules we've made for ourselves. Because like I said, to me, it's just like feels normal, but it's like, oh, no one knows I do this pretty much because I just been doing it for, I do it for so long or whatever. So anyway, I thought that'd just be a fun a little discussion that we'll do towards the end.
Yeah, awesome. I'm hoping it'll be pretty relatable. If there are other people out there with the same, and mine are more like preferences than they are, but I guess it's kind of the same thing. So I'm sure.
It's like I say self-imposed rules, but it's just like it's like it is a preference thing. It's like no, when I play this, I need to do it this way because that just feels more fun to me or whatever, right? So anyway, so we'll dig into that at the end. But anyway, so one thing I wanted to mention real quick before we dive in, if anyone has seen the interviews and stuff we've done when I had Purple Shala on, she actually just literally today, the day we're recording, put out another solo piano album, and it's a lot of like deep cut tracks, like not the main ones.
I saw your post.
And I'll actually put a link to it in the description because I listened to it this morning, and it's like it's there's like a song from World of Final Fantasy that like no one has played, and it's like one of my favorite tracks in that. And she did like Noel's theme from 13.2, which I feel is really underappreciated.
Oh, nice.
So anyway, I'll put the description. So if anyone watched that interview, she's got the link to, if you want to buy the album, or it's on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. I tried to buy it, but I can't because it's like only purchasable in like the US on Amazon and Apple. And I like texted her. I was like, I want to give you my money. I can't.
I
But
can't. It
anyway,
won't let me.
yeah, so I'll just listen to it repeatedly on Spotify, and hopefully one of our listeners goes and checks it out.
There you go.
But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to mention that because she's a big friend of the podcast. So shout outs to her. Okay, so yeah, rewind the clock a little bit until we were different people.
It's a different world.
FF7 Rebirth was not out yet. So there were like a couple games, I think we talked a little bit about how like Tekken coming out when it did was like perfect because it was just like a good like thing to just chip away at, like to help the passage of time feel less painful leading into FF7. And there's two other games that I put quite a bit of time in during that 2 month or whatever. I mean, it's been a while waiting for that game, but especially the last like 2 months or so, like just when the waiting gets especially hard.
And when you are really trying to just chip hours off the clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So one of them is Helldivers 2, and one of them is Wolong. I had picked Wolong up like, I think it was like late last year, but I just had never, I think I hit a point where I was just like having a hard time. So I was like, I'll come back to this. And then things came out. Last year was so insane for releases that I just usually didn't have time to come back around to it. So like, perfect. Like this is a perfect time for me to jump in because I definitely won't be looking at this game anytime soon once 7 comes out. So, and that's nothing against the game. It's just nothing else mattered when February 29th happened. So, you've played some of the Neo games, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's the same team, I think, pretty much. It's the same developer, at least, probably mostly the same team because they definitely have a similar feel. But it's like a very similar style game to those games.
Cripplingly hard.
Yes. Yeah. Very brutal, like Souls level difficulty. But it's like ancient China setting and weapons and martial arts styles and all that kind of stuff. So just like a similar type of game, but different palette. And so yeah, I was probably like not quite halfway through when I hit a wall, and it's a lot of these games I'm not good at like understanding their systems and like how do you like what stats to pay attention to when you're leveling or like for whatever reason it just like it doesn't click for me when I try to figure it on my own for a lot of like Souls games and these like Team Ninja I think is who does that game. And like Stranger Paradise, like same people. It's like I need someone to just tell me like what does this do? What does this stat do and what should I be looking for or whatever. And so I think I read just like a small not article but like a kind of a pseudo guide for just like how this game works. And it's neat and because this is a thing I just didn't understand really because I maybe understood it when I first read the tutorial, but months later I was like, I don't remember how this thing works. Or it's like that game is like stage based, so it's like you go into a stage and there's a boss and then that stage is complete. It's not like a free roaming world for like Dark Souls games kind of are. And you have like I forget what they call it. It's like a morale level, but it's kind of like your level within this stage. And I think it goes up to around like 25 or 30. And it's like, it's a very basic, like your power level in that stage kind of thing. And if you die, I don't remember what the threshold is, but like you lose some of that power. And then as you fight your way back to where you were and kill enemies and stuff, it like goes back up. But there's like these banners within each level, and there's like checkpoint banners, which is like you'll revert back there if you're if you die. And there's like these, I don't even remember what they're called, but they're like the mini banners where they don't heal you like a checkpoint does, and you don't spawn at them if you die, but it just like it raises your minimum morale level if you die. So it's like you lose less power each time you die if you go off
Okay.
these like side, paths and little secret, like secret alleys to like find a hidden room and a mini banner or whatever they're called. Um, and I didn't understand how that system worked at all when I first played, and so uh, before I would just like run through and just try to get to the end really quick. But then if you lose on the boss and you go down power level, it's like you'd have to go and sweep and kill a bunch of things again to, or you just run right to the boss and he's harder now.
Yeah,
Because you're less powerful. And so I started like approaching it a lot more like slow, methodical, and like really just taking my time and finding as many of those. Most of them I would find all but one of the hidden ones. And then if I got to the boss, if I didn't get him first try because I was, a lot more powerful, it was like it was a lot less punishing if I had to fight him again. I went from like 26 to like 23 or something.
right.
Instead of like down to 19 and have to
Yeah.
work my way back up every time.
Yeah.
So I just had to like figure out how to play this game properly, and then I started making like way more progress. And each level would be like it was perfect for like getting home from work and like I'm gonna do a level today because it would be like 40 minutes to an hour sometimes to
Hmm.
do one level, because I was just taking my time and trying to find everything or whatever. And the combat in that game is real fun. It's way like faster and like it's definitely a more like Stranger of Paradise in terms of just like the speed of the combat, than like some of the Dark Souls games. But
Yep.
the parrying in that game is so fun. Because there's like I think they're called like critical blocks or something. I don't remember any of the terminology, but it's like unblockable, but you can parry it. And if you miss the time the parry, it will hit you instead of
Yeah.
blocking and taking less damage. It'll fully hit you. And then like their sort of stamina meter or whatever they call it. It's like spirit meter or something. It's like those perfect parries on those really like heavy hitting moves really chunks that down, and you get these really flashy like finishers or just like critical hits, like kind of like what are they called in God of War? When you
Like,
get the circle,
oh, like
uh,
rage arts or something,
or
or
like
am I?
just like a fancy,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like not a,
Animation, death animation kind of thing,
yeah,
or yeah,
exactly. And it's just like a shitload of damage. So just getting in like the rhythm of combat and some of those bosses, and just like trying to get like the parry timing down and stuff, it was really fun once I like figured out how to play that game and started going through. And I really like the Chinese like weapons,
mm,
and like their fighting styles is so much different than a lot of other games that I feel like I've played. So it
yeah.
was really fun. Of course,
Oh,
I
cool.
used a spear as my main weapon. If you give me the option to play as a spear character, I
Yeah.
will. I will do it. I will always do it. I love my dragoons. Um, so anyway, yeah, I think I finished it like a week before Rebirth. It's got like a pretty good like new game plus and extra stuff at the end, and I did some of that, but I was like, like I feel good about beating this game because the last couple areas and bosses were like pretty wild. Couldn't tell you what the story was. I basically skipped the cutscenes because I did not understand any. But I don't. Sometimes games like that, I don't play them for the story at all.
Yeah, yeah,
And it wasn't like some of those games. Like I think of like Bayonetta or Revengeance, where it's like I want to watch it because it's like very self-aware and very campy.
yeah.
But like this game was like more serious. I was like, I don't know what you're trying to sell me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just let me go fight things again. So, but I went into that game knowing I was probably not going to be paying much attention to the story. I just wanted it for like the combat.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really fun, and it goes on sale pretty low these days. I feel like I see it go down for like $40.
Oh, nice.
And it was probably like a 30-hour, 40-hour game by the time I finished it. And yeah, just that the parry sound effect in that game is very good.
Very satisfying.
It is very satisfying to hit those. Um, and yeah, so that got me through the first, the last like month or so before Rebirth. And the other game I would bounce between, other than Tekken, because we always just bouncing between those. And I meant to. I'll send it to you after. I meant to send you this before that we recorded, but um, uh, Helldivers 2, I
Yep.
picked up, and I had no intention of buying this game at all. I never played the first one, and I vaguely remember seeing like a trailer for it when it was like first announced or whatever, like I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years ago, or it was probably announced, or at least the trailer that they released was maybe a year or two ago. And I was like, okay, like sounds interesting, but like it just wasn't on my radar at all.
Yeah.
And it came out like early February, I feel like the first week of February, and it like exploded online.
Oh yeah.
Like the first Helldivers was like 8 or 9 years ago or more. I can't remember exactly. And I feel like I read like their peak player count like online at the same time
Yeah.
was like 50,000 players, or it was probably not even that. It was probably like 20 or 30. I can't remember, but it was low. And within like 2 weeks or something of this game coming out, their online player count was like 250,000. And
Oh
so like
wow.
no one could play in the first like week or so because it was just their servers were getting obliterated.
Oh wow.
And they had to like, you know, they they were working very quick to try and like, up the server count, or
Yeah.
it would start not letting you log into play because like you play it online essentially. Like not letting people log on so that the people that were on had more stable, connections,
Yeah.
and then it would kick people if they're idle for too long, to let other people come in. And just it was like it felt like every other day there was like some hot fix that was being
Oh
patched
wow.
in to just
Crazy.
and I feel like even up to 7 Rebirth's release, it was still a little iffy. But then when I went back, no, I feel like I had a couple pretty solid like attempts at getting in before Rebirth came out. So I feel maybe like by the third week of February or something, it was like I could log in anytime I wanted and play without. Otherwise, if I logged in anytime after like 6 p.m. our time, there's no chance. Like I just
Wow,
wasn't getting in.
crazy. Huh.
Um, so what I was gonna send you, and I'll send you after, is like the cinematic or story trailer of this game. It's like I know this comparison. Anyone that knows Helldivers 2, this comparison has been done to death, but it's so apt that it's this way for a reason. It is like essentially Starship Troopers the game.
Yeah, okay. I remember you
um,
talking about a game that was very Starship Troopers-y. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just like the super over the top, like, yeah, military, like, like when you're throwing grenades, they're like, here's a taste of freedom. And like,
Yeah.
um, you call an eagle like a bombing run, and it's like spreading democracy in 5 seconds or something like that. And like, it's just so campy,
Yeah.
and very, it's got that tone like perfectly that like Starship Troopers had. And I know that comparison has been done to death at this point, but it's true. And I remember seeing a post that like I think it was like I don't know if it was the director of Starship Troopers. Someone commented about how many people were streaming that movie like on Netflix like a week or two after this game. Like I was like, what? I really appreciate it, but I don't understand why everyone's watching my movie now. Or it was
Yeah, yeah.
something to that effect. And it was like it was Helldivers, man. I did it. I watched it. I
Yeah.
went back and rewatched it after I started playing.
That's
Um,
amazing.
so what it is essentially is like there's no like single player campaign or anything. You just log in and you have like a big ship that you name, and it's like your base of operations. And then like there's like rotating planets that you can go that are like being invaded or whatever. And the different planets will have different like weather effects, which will, if you're on a snowy planet, there could be blizzards, and that makes your stamina run out faster, and weird little kind of attributes like that. And there's like the bug race that you fight, which is literally just like Starship Troopers enemies.
Yeah.
And there's like basically Terminators, like these really freaky looking like robots or whatever.
Yeah.
And they each have like their own sort of type, like enemy types. And so you just go to one of the planets that are being invaded by one of these two, and you can go to either one at any time, pretty much. It's not like one's locked out.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a bunch of different mission types, but there's like the main mission. So there's one example is like, go here, get the codes for like this nuke, and then launch the nuke at the enemy base or whatever. So there's like 2 points on the map that you have to like go find the codes, then go to the missile and launch with the codes or whatever. But then there's like a bunch of side missions or objectives on the map while you're going, and it's like you have like a 40-minute like timer kind of thing, where you have to complete the main objective within, let's say, 40 minutes. But then if you get a bunch of side objectives, before you leave the planet or whatever, like get your extraction, you just get like more currency and points or whatever to buy upgrades and new things or whatever. And it can be, it's like because like I was playing with a couple friends last night, and we're like, we got the main objective done in like 9 minutes or whatever, and we're like, oh, we can go knock out some of these. And it's like the second you get over, if you're playing on like I play on challenging, so it's like trivial, easy, medium, challenging, hard, something else, and like Helldive. Like there's I'm kind of right around the middle point, I think, because I found that one to be like, it's not frustratingly hard, and you don't have to like min max and pick all the right equipment or whatever, but it still pushes back, and it's like you get overconfident, and it's just like you're just swarmed, and you don't know where to go, and like you're out of ammo, and you're being chased by all these giant bugs or whatever, and it's like it can very quickly like just
turn on you,
go to shit. And one of the funniest things, so like friendly fire is like always on in this game, which just leads to so many funny moments. And you get these things that are called stratagems, where you can bring like 4 of them, I think, into a mission with you, and they can be like calling down an automatic turret, calling down a special weapon, like a rocket launcher or like a heavy machine gun kind of thing, or these like ordnance, like I said, like the what do you call them, the jet like bombing runs, orbital strike, which is like a more precise like shot from your ship or whatever, and there's like really big like massive bombs you can get like later on, and missile barrages that is like you gotta like communicate with your team to like, don't go that way because it's gonna be getting like mortar shot for like the next 60 seconds or whatever. And how it works is like so I play on PS5, so it's on controller. You like hold L1, and all your stratagems are on the left hand side, and they're like directional input codes. So like my Eagle strafing run is like hold L1, it's like up, down, right, up. You push that, and then you have a little beacon that turns on, and you just throw it like a grenade essentially, and where it lands is where they're going to target whatever you're. So if it's like a sentry, it'll land where you throw it. If it's a bomb of some kind, it'll shoot. And this happens. I've seen this happen to other people, and it happened to us last night where my friend was playing, and he puts in his code, and he's like, there's like a bug nest, so we're like coming up over the edge, and he's gonna throw it down, and there's like just like some random bugs came out from the side we didn't see and hit him, and he like dropped it. Drop the beat. I was like, oh shit, run! And so we all, and two of us died, but one was already
One
a
made
little
it.
bit further back, so he was still alive. And you can call in to like have like these drop pods come in as a respawn,
Yeah.
and I think you get 5 respawns per like teammate. So like if you have a maximum of 4 people, you can go up to 4 players. It's like you have 20 respawns, and it's like, if 3 people are dead and someone throws a reinforcement, it only costs 1, but it'll respawn all 3 people. It's just like you have 20 reinforcements you can call in, and it'll respawn whoever's dead, not just like 1 per kind of thing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And yeah, so like that stuff happens. You're just, if you put a sentry down and then bugs come behind you, it's gonna mow you down. So get the fuck out of the way. Like it does. The sentries don't know, can't tell friendly fire.
Can't distinguish. Yeah.
Yeah, and the objectives are fun too sometimes, especially if you're playing with people and you're in voice chat, because it's like one we were doing last night was like, we had to like align this satellite, and someone had to get up to the terminal, put in a long like directional input code, and then he can see the satellite. There's like 2 satellites, I think, and he can see when they're aligned properly, but he can't do them. A person has to go to the satellite and like turn a valve or whatever, and rotate it, and he'll tell you when to stop when it's like in the right spot, and then you do the other one, all while being just like assaulted by the enemy waves or whatever. There's cool things like there's one thing I got is like a rocket launcher, and you can call it in and get like an ammo backpack for it, that has like 12 missiles on it or something. And if you equip it yourself and you like shoot a rocket launcher, you gotta like take the rocket launcher, take the thing out, put it in. It's like 5 seconds or something to reload per shot. But if you give the backpack to someone else, they can just sit like behind you, and you get the thing out, and it's just like you like shoot, and you just instant reload, and it's just like, so you're just firing rockets like once every second. And there's one point where there's like this giant, they're called like chargers, and exactly what they do, they're like armored in the front, so they're hard to take down when they're coming right at you. And there's like 2 coming like a little ways away, and I was just like, my friend Derek, I was like, Derek, reload me. And I was like, got down on like the top of this hill where it was coming, and he just got on my back, and I like fired like 5 rockets at them while they're like charging directly to us, and like just killed them like 10 feet in front of us or whatever. But it's just those moments like that that's just like super very chaotic, and it reminds me a lot of like old school, and people have made this comparison, like playing like old school like co-op Halo, like old school Battlefield, like the chaos of those games playing with friends. And yeah, it's just like, and it's such an easy game to just like, a mission is like 40 minutes. So if you just want to go jump on, like do one mission and, just call a night or whatever. So like last night we were playing something else, and 2 of them were like, oh, let's just do a mission in Helldivers or whatever, and just jump on and, play for 40 minutes. But yeah, it is, the humor of that game is like, when I was on my ship, there was like an advertisement on like the broadcast or whatever for like a cologne called like Eagle Sweat or something. It was just like that over the top, kind of humor, I guess. But yeah, like, so I played a lot of that before Rebirth, and I put a lot more time into it. Just do like 1 or 2 missions every other night or whatever. Especially now, a couple of my friends got it.
Oh, cool.
It's way more fun when you're playing with people and like all on voice chat and just screaming at each other and stuff. And it was like last night, it was funny because like we were getting like super. Oh, this is the other thing too, is like some of the bonus objectives you can do around the map. They're called like samples. There's like regular samples and like rare samples, and you just use those to like get new equipment or whatever, like when you're back to base. But if you die, you drop them. You can pick them up. Like someone can pick them up, or if you go back to where you died, you can get them. But it like the more you start branching out and doing this extra stuff, like the more stressful it gets, because if you die, like God, like we lost like 12 samples or something, which is a lot for one run,
Yeah,
because we
yeah,
just got overwhelmed and we couldn't get back to, like, we just had to keep running. Like I remember like two of us were down and the other guy was a little further because he was sniping, so he was always a little further back, and he threw us a reinforcement thing, and like we landed like in the middle of all the bugs, and so like,
yeah.
as soon as it landed, I just started sprinting. It was like, guys, you're running the wrong way, and I was like, man, I just hit the ground and I started fucking running. I don't
Yeah.
care where I'm going. I just don't want to be in the middle of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just like that chaotic, frantic kind of gameplay. But yeah, good on them too, because it's like the people who made this game, it's like a $50 game, like it's for 50 Canadian, so it's like
Yeah.
it's 40 US or less. It's not like a full price game. And it's just like, the problem with a lot of modern games is people want to do the live service model, and that doesn't always work, and it kind of makes the game less fun or grindier or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is what like live service should be, as like this is the type of game that live service makes sense, where you can buy extra stuff but you absolutely don't need to.
Yeah.
And it's a cheaper game. It doesn't make the game grindier because you're just kind of doing these missions normally anyway. I don't know, there's a lot of comparisons I've seen lately of like that game and Suicide Squad, because Suicide Squad was a disaster and it was way overpriced, and for some reason a live service game, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's anyway, and they came out like within a week of each other, which I feel like maybe why it got so popular, because
So popular, yeah.
just that comparison was like, oh, this is an actual like, well, it was like this game, they decided first it was going to be a live service model and then built the game around that, whereas most of the other games exist likely as a normal single player game, and then executives come in and be like, hey, make this live service now, please.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they just kind of shoehorn it in, and it doesn't really make the game better.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, a lot. I've had to. It's like when we were playing last night, I had to make sure my door was closed, because I was like, we're gonna scream at some point. We're gonna be screaming. I don't want to wake up Mike. So yeah, it's very frantic and just fun. Like it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's like the combat feels, it's like you don't have damage numbers and all these like weapon mod precision aiming. It's like it feels very like chunky to play. Like your characters aren't super agile, like they're because they're running around in armor, and you can do like a swan dive kind of dive into prone to dodge stuff, but that's about it in terms of your finesse. And that feels right. Like it feels like the game is actively working against you a lot of the times, but in like a good way that adds to like the tension of just trying to survive. And like, there's just times where you're just getting overwhelmed, and then you somehow get out the other end of it, and you're like, how the fuck did we live through that? Like, by the skin of your teeth. It's just like, how did we manage to get away from that? And then another nest comes up right behind you, and you gotta start running again. So anyway, it is super fun. I know the comparison has been made, but if anyone has any love of Starship Troopers as a cult following, movie, it's worth at least watching the trailers for this game, because like it literally could have been just branded as Starship Troopers, and you would believe that it is in that universe. It's so on point, or on par rather, with the way they do it. So anyway, those are the games that I played a lot before Rebirth, and I've been playing a lot of Helldivers since then. And god damn it, I'm so glad I just saw everyone talking about it. I was like, what the hell is this game? And I was like, oh, it's only $50. Like, sure, I'll try it if everyone's talking about it. And I was like, this is like one of the most fun multiplayer games I've played in a long time.
Oh man, awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's all I gotta say about those games. Very, very fun. Helldivers 2 is just a barrel of laughs. Especially if you're playing with other people. It is just outrageous how quickly that game will turn on you. Which just leads to a lot of, like I said, yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
In the best way. So yeah.
Awesome. Oh man, it sounds super fun, especially like playing with people that you know, and it just kind
Yeah.
of becomes like, party mode kind of thing. So
It's
yeah.
still enjoyable if you, for the most part, when I play with randoms. I don't usually have voice, like I don't usually talk. If they're talking, I can hear them.
Yeah.
Um, as long as they tend to stay together, like you don't have one guy running off to just do a bunch of side objectives on his own because it's
Yeah.
less fun. Um, but I'd say 8 out of 10 times I go in with randoms, it actually like it's still a pretty fun match. It's just
Yeah.
10 times more fun when it's friends that you're talking and yelling with.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm not much of a multiplayer gaming kind of guy. Like I did a little bit on Tekken, but like that I just like playing with you and Mike for the most
yeah,
part. But when I got Ghost of Tsushima, I played a bunch online
the
with
Legends
randos.
mode or whatever.
Yeah, and that I really enjoyed that because it was all co-op, and
Hmm.
it was kind of like you were always against computer. Oh no, I guess like you could be against other people as well. Just sometimes it just gets so trolly though. Like it's just like, oh God, like you're playing against people who've been playing this nonstop for years,
Right.
kind of thing. It's like this
And
is
so that is
yeah,
one thing that's nice about this game is it's never against people. It's always
yeah,
like co-op against the AI or whatever.
computer, yeah,
Yeah. So if you do have someone that has a bunch of higher level stratagems or whatever, it doesn't make
yeah,
the game like unfun because
yeah,
you're not playing against that person.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, that sounds awesome. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's been really fun. God, I'm probably gonna they're probably gonna message me tonight to play some, so we're probably gonna get into it tonight again. But anyway, yeah. So that's what I got to say about those. Let's talk about. So I want to talk about your trophy progress in FF7. I know
Yeah.
you beat it on hard, I think you
Yep.
said.
Yeah.
Um, and you were doing some of the oh yeah, I think the last thing we talked about is you were doing, so I guess spoiler alert again for FF7 Rebirth.
Yeah.
um you were doing the combat challenge, the was it the your full party against, it was like the summons and
Yep.
then Gilgamesh and Sephiroth.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly.
That's the last
So,
I know that you were working on.
no, good. So, yeah, beat it on hard, which wasn't bad actually. Like, I feel like remake hard was harder.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
but like, although like Scarlet, took me for a run there for a while. They're like that took me several
Oh,
tries.
sure.
Uh,
Like in general, like the game as a whole. Yeah, I would probably
yeah,
say because you could use the bench stops, and
and
actually
so
full heal.
I did not know that.
Okay.
And then I found out like midway through, and I was like, I feel like that's cheating. Like I will not use the bench stops for MP
Oh, sure.
recovery. But oh, I got a thumbs up there.
It's
Uh,
okay.
but yeah, so I found there are a couple of bosses. Oh, even like that, like the first side quest of helping Chloe in the
Get the
flowers,
flowers.
all those like mandrake things or whatever. I was just like, Jesus Christ, like this is insane. And I remember I texted you that, and you're like, yeah, this game says, oh, so you think you're a hot shot, do you? Like hold my beer kind of thing. So that required like, okay, like I guess I need to do strategy for everything,
Yeah.
not just bosses and whatnot. But anyway, uh, so but then I got into a groove, and I think like, okay, like I'm a menace to society with Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa. Like it's
Sure.
like that team I can really do some damage. So I kind of knew what I was doing, and the gauntlet run at the end definitely
Yeah.
took me some time, not all in one sitting of like, okay, I hacked through like 3 bosses in this, and
Yeah.
I need an emotional break here.
That's what I thought you meant was easier in remake than before. I thought you meant the
No,
whole like,
no, no.
because yeah, that was definitely way harder of a finale because there's like 7 boss fights.
Oh man, and I was worried too because it forces you to be certain people
Yes.
throughout, so you can't just choose your favorite person party kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, Kate Sith, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do, because I'm so useless with him. But I did a bunch of stuff in his like single person
Yeah.
combat simulator challenge.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, okay, I kind of appreciate how to use him a bit better now
Yeah.
and whatnot. So. Anyway, that took some time, different phases, and like, okay, clearly this, that. Final Sephiroth kind of, I had to kind of like look up a little bit of a strategy there of like, because when he does his like two-handed whisper
Sure.
spinorama move, I was just like, what is even happening here? And then I found it was like, oh, okay, this makes total sense now. He's being constantly pressured, so I just need to focus thrust him a bunch of times to
Right.
stagger him and stay out of the way. Try to keep Aerith from dying. Anyway, that went well, and then I was pretty happy with that, getting that done.
When you get Aerith in that last battle, it was like an oasis in the desert of MP. I was like,
oh
good
yeah,
God, I'm using all of her MP.
yeah,
Because I was so starved by the
yeah.
time I got to that fight.
Oh yeah, it's
I
just
am dumping every spell in this fight.
exactly. Um, so she was just like, sweet. You might as well be a walking orb of Mako, essentially. You know, like
Yeah.
you just a sweet. I need some magic, please. Um, but so, anyways, that was pretty good. Um, and I then kind of went back and did like there are a couple of quests that I just brain fart didn't get like the gold star on kind of thing
Oh,
like on
sure.
my first run through, so kind of cleaning up a couple of those things. um and then my can't stop won't stop whatever challenge, that I don't know what I screwed something up where I had all the quests done but I couldn't like activate that challenge
On hard mode?
on hard mode. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I just like reset all of the quests and just went to chapter 12, just kind of do them again, which was fun. I was just like, just a bunch of boss fights again.
Sure.
Clean that up. This isn't the order that I did it. I'm kind of bouncing around, but did all the single person challenges, which were hard. So,
Yeah.
so really hard.
Some of them I had to just look up, like, what do I need to like have an immunity to,
yeah,
or you know what I mean? Like, I did look up some of that just so like, okay, I don't want to get to the last fight and then get like petrified and be, you know what I mean? So like, I
yeah.
definitely looked up just, what should I be ready for in these fights, and like, what kind of elemental resistance should I take to this, or I definitely did, because I think I didn't do it the first like couple times, and I got to like, how were those 5 fights or 10?
5. Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
But they're one person, so they're just
Oh
longer,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
there was a couple times where I got to the last fight and died. And I was like, okay, like I don't want a full material loadout, but like tell me what things I should be defending against, because
Yeah.
I was losing my patience. And I
I
still I sorry, I cut you off.
no, that's fine.
It didn't ruin the fun for me. For me,
Oh
the
no.
fun of that was like the execution. It's like, yeah, give me some tips so I know what to build into my party, and then I just got to do it, because that
Yeah.
is the hard part for me anyway.
And so that's I tried a couple like just with the builds that I had kind of curated along the way, and would get so far and then just like die, and then I was kind of just getting frustrated, so I was like, I need a material loadout, just like what
Yeah,
are people using, and because I need a chance here, and it's like
yeah,
suggesting a couple of things. It's like, oh yeah, this makes sense, like and it's like, okay, I gathered that I should have a warding, this, and like a resist, a cleansing with a magnify in order to do this, and I
Right.
need ribbons here because I'm fighting a Marlboro thing kind of
Right.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like,
And sorry, I think I said I didn't look up material loadouts. I didn't mean that. I mean, I didn't look up like like strategies for each fight. I definitely
yeah,
looked at material loadouts. I'm like, okay, like to know what I should be prepared for. So I didn't
yeah.
mean that to sound like I was shaming you for doing,
No,
because
no,
I
no, no,
definitely
no.
did it too. I just didn't look at like fight by fight. What am I supposed to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I still
no,
figured that part on my own.
and no shaming, even if you did it, because
Yeah,
I was
for
just like,
sure. Sure. Yeah.
to me, I was like, I'm still having a blast doing this, and if I
Yes.
don't do it, I'm gonna be angry,
Exactly.
and
And
I'm
that's what
never
I
gonna
meant.
be
Like
able
the
to.
execution was the fun part.
Yeah,
Having someone tell me what I should prepare for, but then just having to do it, figure it out, or like execute it myself. That was still
yeah.
more than enough fun for me.
And it made me like better with all the characters,
Yeah.
which helped. Like, certainly, if that's your only kind of player, and so like I got much better at Red 13 that I was not really all
Yeah.
that good at, and just kind of my parrying got better, and
Yep.
understanding what their move sets are and stuff like that. So that was really good. So that opened up the two like fights with like Sephiroth and Zack as
Yes.
teammates, and totally unexpected. I did not read anything about
Good.
that, and I was just like, oh yes. I thought it was just going to be two more grindy fights or whatever, and I was like, oh, and like with basic training modules for them as well. So like
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah. Like
and
the
so
training tutorial fight or whatever.
yeah, yeah. So because I remember like not really understanding how to use Sephiroth that well
No.
in chapter one.
No.
Um
Same.
and then learning actually like about the triangle like post move extra.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is
I had
cool.
no idea that was a thing
And so
at
then
all.
it was very strategically doing like the Hell's Dive and then waiting. Oh, then like an extra zhuzh at the end, or the
You can
Zen
do it
Shin.
after his limit break too, by the
Omni
way.
Slash, yeah,
Yeah, it's
or Octa
crazy.
Slash, yeah. Um, so that was really cool, and just his like hold a direction and circle, like essentially teleporting in
Yeah,
directions kind of thing. Oh man, I got so good with him.
sure,
So like I crushed that fight.
sure.
Like that kind of got through pretty pretty well, especially like just do what you can to get the limit break so that he's got unlimited MP, and
Yes, yeah.
you know,
Or
and
the synergy.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
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 the
yeah,
synergy attacks, the double helix or
yeah.
whatever. So that was awesome. Uh, so I still have not been able to do the like the super fight of all the summons, and then virtual Sephiroth. I got past like I think I was telling you 2 weeks
Oh
ago
yeah,
I was doing this, and like okay, it was just get to virtual Sephiroth, and like I could get past all of them, Gilgamesh included, and just like nope, didn't try this, didn't work this time, try again. Nope, Sephiroth's still schooling me with his friggin' attack, whatever.
yeah.
And I could just always get to him. And then I did a bunch of other stuff, came back, and it's like I can't beat Gilgamesh for the life of me. And I don't know what it is. It's like he was so easy before. So then I finally kind of like calmed down a bit and then could get past him once. But then I'm too worked up. I can't parry against Sephiroth properly. So I need to like watch some videos of people doing it to like count how many seconds, or a visual cue, or
Sure.
something, so
Yeah.
that I can parry it and try it again. But I just kind of got frustrated, and I got reasonably far in the Zack one, but it was like I feel like I need the Gotterdammerung from that in order to really have a chance here.
Yeah.
But
I
um,
definitely got that first before I did those like duo the pair not fights.
yeah, yeah,
And I think the enemies that you fight are the same in both.
yes, or ish, yeah.
Yeah.
It might be different orders, but there's certainly it's not the Zack and the Sephiroth fights are not exact carbon copies of each other.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah,
Um oh no, it was because when I tried a couple times and was struggling, I like was just reading some tips and whatever, and they said uh, doing the Sephiroth and Cloud one first is helpful because you kind of just get more familiar with this, at least the fights that are the same between the two, like the summon fights.
Yeah.
Is it each summon individually, or is it the pairs of summons? I forget.
The first one in both is Titan and
No,
Bahamut?
those are the solo summon fights, right?
Uh
The Sephiroth, Zack, and
no, I think it's I can't remember.
because it's the full party is the pairs of summons.
Yes, yeah.
The God of Ram or whatever thing one.
Yeah, okay, it's just Titan.
Yeah.
Is the first fight. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
and I'm only remembering that because like the thing said like Sephiroth is way more powerful and capable than Zack is.
Yeah.
And so it's like doing the one with Cloud and Sephiroth first is like an easier way to like learn the nuance of these fights again because you just have a more powerful ally with you. Whereas Zack his loadout isn't as good as Sephiroth's, and like it's just not as strong as as a character, like as a fighter or whatever. That it's like you're practicing those fights with Sephiroth so that you can do them with Zack, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely did them in that order, but I did the one where you get the free limit break first because that helps so much in those. If you just give that to Cloud and he can just have that limit break ready to go, especially on Odin, because if you limit break Odin like immediately, it puts him in the pressured state or whatever.
Yeah, so you're not worrying that you're just gonna get cheesed kind of thing. So so anyways, I still have to kind of figure that out, and I think I'll be better now because since kind of putting that on the back burner, I went back and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try all the Coliseum fights again, and because I got to a certain point where I was just getting frustrated. It was like because there's a pretty
ones.
What's that?
The frog fight.
No, I got past those ones. It was into the legendary something Archfiends or something like that. But it was because anyway, it was getting pretty challenging.
That one where it's like, is it King Zoo?
Yeah, just before that, in the last 5, it's like the same enemies, just in different combinations.
Right.
And then the King Zoo is the one with the swan song that
that's like,
yeah.
You have and that killed me so many times, and the time that I beat it, I was like a millisecond away from it going. Like I thought I didn't get it, and it was like, that was like one of those moments where I had to like put the controller down and just like take a breath. Because it was so close.
Because previously I was at the Coliseum fights and just kind of I can't get past this one. Like I clearly need to recalibrate my brain here. So then I went and did the combat sim ones instead and some other stuff. Like, okay, I'm gonna come back and actually think about this a bit more, and then try for a while. Okay, I got past this one finally. Just a couple of hours, one more fight. Okay, slowly but surely I am making my way through. And it'd be stuff like the Jabberwock and Quetzalcoatl, and then it's the King Zoo and the Joker or whatever, and then the next one would be Joker and the Quetzalcoatl, and
right.
then, just it's like all of these are just super annoying and hard, and now they're just different combinations, so you have to change your strategy a little bit. But it would get to the one with the King Zoo, and it'd be like, okay, first things first, calm down, because if you're too worked up and you're not going to execute on crippling both of those wings, and then you're fucked. Then you're gonna start all over again. And I find it really hard too because I always lock the
a thing I found, and I think it was during one of these, it was definitely against the King Zoo on one of them.
Yeah.
Because I would just be mistargeting and losing and so if you lock on and hit X to go into tactical mode, you can change targets in that mode.
Exactly.
And that's how I figured that out. And I was like, okay, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, like X, like pause. I was like,
Yeah.
target, go over. Okay, do this move on that, and just like anytime I was like starting to get flustered that I couldn't find the wing, I would just hit pause and like, let me just
Yeah.
pick this character. Okay, just go attack that thing.
Yeah.
Because
And
I
it
didn't
would
know you
be
could move that when it was paused.
like, oh, but I need to get a couple of like triangles in
Sure.
before my ATB, so it's just like, oh, because it and then like if like, okay, braver on that wing, but he would do it like it'd be kind of like
It'd be kind of blocked by the
blocked,
body.
and he
Yeah,
just
yeah,
hit the
yeah.
body. I was like, no, move here, then do it, you fucking moron. It's like, well, at least Barrett's got a full charge, so maybe he can Thundara it from over there, and then just like about to do it, and then like get hit
Interrupt
by
it.
the Joker, and I'm just like, and then like pause, like, fuck off, seriously, like seriously,
I definitely
like
had
okay.
some of those moments during those.
I'm like, okay, Cloud, are you useless still? Or are you gonna be able to pull this off? I put ATB boost on you for a reason so that you have another ATB full. So like now that you hit the bird and then got hit over here to the right, maybe now you can hit the wing since it's straight in front of you, you fucking moron. And then like the other wing, this much left. No,
He
then
does it. He
wasn't
does
enough
his move.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, so many times like that after like a pretty grueling,
Just
15
getting
minutes on the
there.
previous fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, God damn it. And then, okay, crippled you, pressured you a little bit. Fuck off. I'm gonna go tackle this one for a little while. Because trying to hit you all the time, you just have all these wind attacks and you just blow me kind of halfway across the room, and I can never get any ATBs up. So I'm gonna go build up some ATBs on this jerk over here. Then I'll come back. But then I don't see the swan song until it's like halfway through. And like, oh shit, I forgot. Anyway, it was just stupid. But pretty satisfying when kind of
Yeah.
got through another one and another
It,
one.
it definitely was only annoying because I would refuse to take a break.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I never blamed the game. It was like me being stubborn. Like, no, one more. I got it this time. I got it this time.
yeah,
When I
yeah,
should have just like take a breath, walk away for 20 minutes and then come back later.
yeah, exactly.
So it was only ever annoying because I refused to, listen to my own brain and like and step away for a few minutes.
Oh, exactly. It's like you're just like frustrated and not thinking straight.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but I did really like, even though I was dying at it a lot, I did really like I think it was Marlboro Marble Tentacle King or whatever,
Yep.
and then the King Zoo, because it was like, okay, just cripple the wings, just to figure that out, go attack the Marlboro, like literally same strategy I did in 16, just get behind them.
Yeah.
And do Trinity Strike on the mouth when it opens up kind of thing, and keep an eye on that goddamn red bird so that you don't forget about it.
Oh,
Tifa would have
just because you mentioned, and I don't think we talked about it before. I don't think because you didn't have it yet. That Trinity Strike move that Tifa gets,
yeah.
if you get all three and you get that last hit, that like smoke effect. Oh my god, it's like the most satisfying sound in that whole game.
I use that every ATB I get with
so
Tifa.
Awesome.
And like, especially if there's a lot of enemies around, it like literally is like pushing my PS5 to the limit. Like just like the amount of particles and numbers and everything, and that sound. I love that move.
Yeah, it's so
and
cool.
and like I can pull it off even when there's a million things going on because I just have the timing going. Like I don't even have to see it anymore. There could be a giant fucking left wing in my way, and I can still see what's going on, or I can still pull it off. But
anyway, sorry.
So I have like the ribbon on Tifa, but like she's got like a cleansing magnifier to keep the others from getting turned into stuff.
Yeah.
But just like I really liked that fight because it was two very different enemies and kind of needing to focus on one and the other and
Yeah,
going back and forth, and each person had a very specific role. So yeah, I got through all the Coliseum fights, which I was pretty happy with, and then like I didn't have quite enough GP to buy the Dio autograph, whatever. So I was like, you
sure.
know what? Go do a couple chocobo flights as like or chocobo races as a
Yeah.
victory lap because I'm pretty damn good at the chocobo racing.
Same. Yeah, I was pretty good by the end.
So then got that, and then since then, uh, went through the quests again so I could get to the party animal quest and beat that, which was challenging, but kind of just took me a couple of tries and
Yeah.
get that figured out. Just all right, I'm gonna need like safety bits, and because there's that
I'm
Tom
so
Berry
mad that
fight.
I fucking forgot about
Uh,
that. I got
it-
so mad at that goddamn quest. I
oh man,
forgot instant death is like a status effect.
yeah.
God.
Uh, so I did that, and then so then that was all the like manuscripts from quests, and then went and did all the hard mode um uh what are they called, proto relic things.
Oh shit, you hadn't done
Uh,
that yet. Okay.
no, no. So the Fort Condor and the gambits and stuff, and that I looked up
Yeah.
how, like, just tell me what
What
uh
loadout?
loadout,
Yeah.
what characters, what strategy, like, because Fort Condor is just like, just tell me what I gotta do and
Oh,
I'll do
Fort
it.
Condor, I brute forced it and like figured it out myself, but the Gears and Gambits one, I was like, I have nothing against that minigame. I just don't understand how to be good at it.
Yeah,
So I was like, someone just tell me what to do because
and
I couldn't put it together.
even with that, it was still challenging. Like
Yeah,
it's
it still
it
took me a
still
while.
still took me a while, even on the Fort Condor. Like the Fort Condor thing, it was just the time. If I had 10 extra fucking seconds, I'd be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Um, it'd be a sliver of health, and I'm winning. Like it's like I've got 5 people on the final boss, like Gilgamesh, whatever. But it's just a time thing, and so
Yeah.
I just had to perfect. Anyway,
Like play, yeah, you
uh,
had to play perfectly basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so I did a bunch of those. I got all those, and then the Cactuar things. The Aerith ones are really tough.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah,
Those
like
are so funny. Just listening to them, all the
yeah,
like
yeah,
squealing that they're doing.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like doing those and like laughing out loud at how just like the sound that they're making when you're just annihilating like 50 of them at a time.
especially the little ones.
That's what I mean. Yeah, just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
little squeals.
And oh man, my second favorite sound effect in the entire game is when Yuffie doing Art of War on a big group of whatever. It's like because it's just like and it kind of slows down in a similar way.
Yeah,
You're like, oh yeah, I am just crunching through a bunch of
yeah.
bones here.
Hers was really fun. Eris was harder, but I still think it only. I think I just I had hers down pretty well, and I feel like I got hers after like second or third try. But Yuffie's, I feel like I did probably about the same. Like it only took me like 2 or 3 tries, but hers was like just way more fun.
Oh
Her
yeah.
move set that you can use.
Especially like you just get a doppelganger and then just
Yeah,
like game
like
over.
what's it called? Windstorm.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
would be the one where my PS5 is like, hey man, calm down.
Yeah,
Just
because
like,
I would
give
do
me a
that.
break.
Bring everyone in, and then like Art of War on the amassed, group of enemies I brought into my circle, kind of thing. So,
And then if
uh,
you would almost certainly have like a full charge banishment because you're doing so
y-
many abilities
oh
and
yeah,
just like
yeah.
goo. It's just
And
like
like does 2 of them if you have a doppelganger, and so like,
so
oh,
good.
so good. So got all of those, uh, and then it was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a run at the Queen's Blood Nightmare Challenge again because I thought I had it yesterday.
Is
I was
that
like,
the one where it's like 5 games and you don't redraw cards or whatever?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I thought I had it the other day, and I was like, I'm like 40 points ahead of this guy. No way. And it's like, no. And that last one, he's got the Queen's Blood card. So he's just purposefully attacking his own cards, and that just gets more and more and more powerful. And I lost by like 10 points.
I think I did basically had to put a couple cards in that is like, okay, as long as I have like these 2 cards on that last one, as long as I'm winning by that point, these 2 cards I'll win, because I think
Yeah.
I put because yeah, it's when he debuffs his own cards he gets buffed, right?
Yeah.
So I think I had 2 cards that get buffed when enemy cards get debuffed.
Yeah.
So it basically like countered out whatever power the emerald or whatever the witch, I forget what color it is.
Yeah, so like the red one, the Queen's Blood card, or
yeah,
yeah,
it basically just countered out whatever power level she got to. But it's like I'm basically down 2 cards for the whole other 4 games. I just need to get to the end with at least these 2, and like, you know, obviously 2 or 3 others.
Some points. Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely took me a couple tries.
I was like, you know what? Fine. You want to play it that way? I was like, I'll bring in my Queen's Blood card that I don't usually play, and it's like, all right, I'm putting mine right there too, so 2 could play that goddamn game. And then I put another one that like I think gets buffed whenever he debuffs his own things. So
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that was one of the ones I had.
And so, but I got lucky because on the round before, where like there's the Shiva in the middle, and that turns all pawns on the board at the end into
the ice or whatever.
Ice with I think it's random numbers assigned to it, or whatever, or maybe
I think it's like how many pawns it is how powerful it is.
And so, but I had like put a Cactuar down earlier just in the interest of getting more pawns, because it like kind of reached over here and did one, but it was also like +3ing on a space that was just a pawn, and so an iceberg got there and it was worth 7 when it popped up. So I was like, oh shit. So I got a lot of points in that penultimate round, and then kind of just pretty strategic in that last one, and kept him from putting too much down, and then he passed at one point, and I was like, shit, I could end this right now, and I think I'm okay. But yeah, I crushed it. So I beat that. So now literally all I have to do is those 2 combat sim fights, and I think that's platinum.
Because I assume the last thing you have is the Johnny's collection thing or whatever.
Yes, I think so.
Because I think you get a thing for doing those challenges for his collection. I don't know if there's a trophy for doing them. There might be actually trophies for doing those. I don't remember, but you do have to do them to get.
It's a trophy in itself for the combat sim. Yeah.
Whether it's for the combat itself or the thing you get for completing all the combat challenges. I don't remember.
Yeah. So I should check my Johnny list to see what I'm missing, and the trophy list. But yeah, I think that's mostly it. And then I will definitely run through for all the different golden saucer dates and stuff like that. So
you do have to do that a little bit anyway, because you do have to do the you have to do the play with each of the 3 girls as the princess.
I've done that at least.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
So you get, that's one of the Johnny things you get.
Yeah. So anyways, I just love this game so much.
I literally had to I couldn't justify playing it all the way through a 3rd time right away.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to keep. I was like, oh, I can't, because I don't want to burn out on it, so that when I come back later to play it, it's less enjoyable. So I just well, I guess I'll just play Remake again. So I started doing that.
I'd log on and see oh, Garrett playing FF7 Remake is oh man, he's desperate for more Final Fantasy VII content and something that's at least somewhat unfamiliar. I was like,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
And I was like, I'm probably going to, if I have time to do it before Dawn Trail comes out, like I want to 100% it. Like I want to do like all the combat challenges again. Like when I did my last playthrough, I just like got to credits and that was it. But I was like, I want to do it and then do it on hard and then do all the combat.
Oh, nice.
Like I really want to just do, because I hadn't done those honestly since I got the trophy, like the platinum for the, I guess for the PS5 upgrade version. But watching people do all that stuff in Rebirth, I'm like, it's just so fun doing like pushing the combat system to its limits, and doing all those challenges. And I hadn't done those in a while, so so I'm probably, if I have time now. Stellar Blade, I started playing today or yesterday, and I think it's going to be a bit of a bigger game than I was expecting. So I don't know how long exactly it will take me to finish that. And I have almost exactly 2 months before Dawn Trail comes out, which at that point everything else is on pause for probably a good month at least. But if I have time to get through 7 remake, I want to like 100%, and like the Yuffie DLC too. I want to do like all the combat challenges on that too.
Yeah.
Now that I really know how to play Yuffie, like way more than I did when I played Intergrade for the first time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I just like, I need more FF7 because I played the FF. I guess we'll talk about this another time, but I played the 16 DLC. And that was really, really good. So I guess we'll talk about it whenever you get to it. But I finished that and I'm just like, well, that was great, but like I need FF7 again. Give me more.
Oh man, I'm loving it so much. I love all the combat. I still and just even like the synergy skills, I'm using those a lot more now, and knowing just like, oh man, I'm building ATB for 2 people right now.
I know it took me way too long to like understand that is honestly the point of them. It's like, that is their actual use, is to build ATB with more than one person.
Oh man, but so no, it's been I just love it so much. But I can tell, like, I love it, but I know that like once I get this platinum, then I think I will be able to hang up the controller on that game for a little while. Like it's been a very satisfying run, and it's like I'm kind of almost, I'm not going through hard mode again because I'm not doing all the story beats. I'm like quest, fast travel, beat this boss, quest, fast travel, beat this boss, and it's like my second time going through them. It's not, there's no challenge anymore.
Right.
Like, it's like I'm getting pretty good at this game. I just need to execute on these 2 freaking challenges at the end. And
that's fun. That platinum was, and I see people like online and like, oh, like just like something to the effect of like, this platinum's way too hard, blah blah. And every time I see that, I'm just like, Final Fantasy 9, 10, 12, and 13 would like to have a word with you. If you want to talk about a ridiculously like overly difficult platinum trophy. Those games would like to have a word with you.
And it's
those are insane.
They're not meant to be achievable without effort, kind of thing. So
I feel like the platinum for 7 is more than fair, because it's just mastering its systems, basically. And it's not, there's like trophy in FF9 that's like kill 20,000 enemies, and when you beat the game, number one, there's no counter, so you don't know how many you have, but people have like, done the math and estimate that you have probably maybe 2,000 kills by the time you beat the game. Then you got to get 18,000 more. And like, that is not a fun trophy. Like, stuff like that is not enjoyable for me. I did it, but it's like, stuff like that. When I see people complain about like 7 and even 16 trophy, it's like, no, those are fine. You just have to like, execute everything about the game systems and you'll be fine. Stuff like the 13 treasure hunter and like the FF10 Sphere Grid Master, whatever that's called. It's just like, yeah, go platinum those and tell me this one's hard.
Yeah, exactly,
You know,
exactly.
not to like gatekeep, but I'm just saying, this is not that bad. Trust me, I've been through worse.
Yeah, exactly. There are worse.
Yeah.
But no, so it's just, and like my I got the like deluxe version or whatever, which came with a mini soundtrack, which is actually has more or different tracks on it than like the Spotify kind of playlist that kind of I've been able to find. So I like my Spotify hasn't been getting much time lately because I'm just like, from iTunes,
from the mini, yeah.
from the mini soundtrack. That's just been like my everyday soundtrack. So like, and then watching a few videos here and there. Oh man, I don't know who it was. I wish I could give a shout out here, but it was someone, just something I saw scrolling through Twitter or something like that. But it was for the Cosmo Canyon quest where you're looking at the stars, taking pictures of the stars, and then you like sneak the picture of Aerith.
Oh yeah.
And then like you get key items in your inventory, and like this girl, I wish I could remember who it was, but like just like losing her mind, like super emotional, of just like these are exactly the things that he said she's not going to be able to do anymore when she dies, and she's just like,
yeah.
She's like, I know these people aren't real. I know they're not real, but this game is so perfect. If they don't end up together, like, I don't know what I'm going to do, and all this stuff. It was really, really cute. And I was just like, yep, this is, like, I can't take this anymore. Like, that quest is perfection. Anyway, just
I've now watched like all of Max Dude's playthrough.
Okay.
He has all his parts up, so I ended up watching all of his playthrough. I know Brianna's doing it, but at a slower pace, so I'll just catch those when I see them. And I've watched like so many podcasts and like videos of people talking about it. It was like, I was fully saturated in this game.
Yeah.
I was very pleased. And it's like, I still can't stop thinking about it. It's like, you'd think I'm tired about it, not necessarily playing it, but just taking up the space in my brain. It's like, no, I still think about this game like every fucking day.
Oh yeah.
And just how good it is.
It's funny too, like, think about this, where it's like, I haven't cried that much in a small period of time in like my entire life. Like it was just like I'd play it every day
because it's such a long game.
Yeah, it's like I'd play it like every day and would like full on have an emotional meltdown and like cry buckets of tears multiple times every day. And then just like oh, just like so dehydrated. Like I've never had I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was just like, I literally had kind of like a religious experience playing this game.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah. I just like, I love this game. Everything about it hits me every time. Like I did that side quest today, the Cosmo Canyon one, and just like broke down when Aerith like sneaks in front of the camera and she's like, I saw you taking a picture of me earlier, and like she's he was like, nothing sneaky about it. Like they're just everything's just so perfect about everyone in that game.
The characterization, it's like, I think Max was saying something like this, where it's like there's more to the characters now because they're fully acted and voice acted and mocap and all that stuff. But it's like, you believe that this is what they were, even though they weren't. Like, you believe that this is 100% what their characters were doing. We just couldn't see it or hear it. And that's just like how good they did, is that it doesn't feel different from that. It just feels like we can see it more clearly now. And that could have easily been, because I always, Advent Children, like I love that movie, but like Cloud is like super emo in that movie, and it's like fair, he's still depressed about letting Aerith die, but and when you stop and think about it that way, like, okay, I understand why he's this way. Then he's not supposed to be like how I remember him in the game. And it was like, so they're if it's done wrong, and that's not to say it's done wrong, it's just you have to contextualize that no, he's depressed because he let Aerith die and it thinks it's his fault. Um, but like the immediate connection you try to make between that Cloud and Polygon Cloud is like, they don't feel like the same person, and it's because they're not, because of this stuff. But before you think of it in context, you could easily have that reaction again. We're like, this isn't the Cloud that I remember from OG7, where now it would be a more fair comparison if it were true. But you don't get that at all. It's like, this is what he was. I just couldn't hear him say it that way before. And I just think that speaks to how well the localization team did at just understanding what that character was in the OG game and like perfectly extrapolating it but you believe it. You 100% buy that if that game were made for the first time in this form, this is how these characters would be. And fuck, it's such a good game.
It's just incredible. I love it so much. Every character, just even anyway, we could go in hours on this, but I love that game, and nothing it seems like it could ever match.
No, it's my favorite game of all time. Like, full stop. I've decided I'm past the honeymoon phase. I think maybe I'm not, but the amount of game in this game and how good all of it is and how much it delivers on what I love about the original, it's just like it's better than any game I've ever played in my life, for sure. One final shout out, my friend Jenny, who actually watches our podcast pretty much every episode. I've been using the PS4 remote play thing PlayStation remote play, because you can screen share in PlayStation 5. I didn't know this for a long time. Where like if I could go and join a party with you and request to view your screen, and if you say yes, it just streams your screen to my screen.
Oh, cool.
And I can just watch it in real time.
On your TV kind of thing, or okay, cool.
So what I've been doing is I've been using the remote play to just have it as like a window on my PC while I'm doing other things. And my friend Jenny's playing it, and when I see her playing Rebirth, I'm just like, if you're not doing anything like important, like can I just watch or whatever? And I just turn my mic off so she, I'm not distracting. I want her to like enjoy the game and play it, but I just want to. I want more. I need to watch more of this. Like I'm not done consuming this game. And so I was watching her play it, and I think it was her first time through, and she was in like the Kate Sith section. And when you get that little like mini game, if you want to call it that, where it's like destroy 10 boxes or whatever, she was just sitting where it was like, because it gives you a bunch of boxes to throw.
Yeah.
And she's just sitting there smashing them all. Like, ooh, this is fun. It's like, and I could see her like in real time realize, I gotta throw these. She spent like half the time just bashing them.
It was easy. Yeah. Man.
So,
and so
shout outs to her. That made me laugh so hard. And I told her as much, but I was cracking up watching. I think that was actually, so a couple weeks ago I had a tooth pulled. So I was kind of on the couch for a few days, just, icing it, and couldn't eat any solid foods or whatever. And I think it was one of those nights where I was just laying on the couch and I didn't want to play anything because I was just feeling crappy. And I was like, let me just, I'll just watch you. And I actually had it up on my TV watching, and I was just dying laughing. It was like, ooh, boxes, fun.
That's really amazing. Yeah. And so I think that's kind of what I need to do now, is live vicariously through some others.
Yeah.
So my good friend Graham is playing slower pacey, but he kind of sends me screenshots of where he is, and I, no soft spoilers. I'm not like, get ready for. I'm just like, oh man, the music in that place is awesome, or something, or whatever.
Yeah.
So just kind of being very just like, just tell me, keep me posted on what you're doing. I don't want to kind of do any soft spoilers.
So my friend Jenny finished it, so we've talked about the whole ending and everything. I think she may have watched our final episode, the last ones we did. But my other friend, who's the third friend of the ones that we did this with 16, where we like made a group chat and just like, okay, just tell me everything that happens. And now that me and her are done, our third friend just got it, and so we like really like our group chat before was called like Jill Fan Club, and he changed it to something like Tifa and Aerith Fan Club or something, because now it's just FF7 stuff. And it was like he was going through the flashback, and he was just texting like in all caps, like just single line reactions to stuff. And me and our other friend, we were just like, yeah, this is gonna be fantastic.
Yeah,
just
so
listening to him react to everything.
I need some of that. And kind of like the nice thing is, like, how do I say this? Like, I got something tangible out of all of this, is that like I took screen caps all the time. I was constantly taking screen caps, and now I have wallpaper galore.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it.
I know. Like for my phone, for my, I have a vertical monitor and normal monitor, so it's like I could throw one up there. I got a separate one on each monitor. I got a different one on my work computer monitor. Like,
yeah,
I just have, because it's all like 4K capture basically. Like, so they're all really high res screenshots.
And so I have it that they rotate, and they're kind of different ones at all times on my two monitors. And so like, if ever like, I just kind of like have a hot corner to just go to my desktop, and like I kind of, if ever I do that, it's just like a second or two of like, oh yeah, I forgot about FF7 for a few seconds there. I appreciate the reminder. I'm in a happy place again. Like, even if like work sucks and I'm in like I'm doing something really shitty, it's just like I see my desktop, I'm like, okay,
everything's gonna be fine.
How can you be angry at that face? I
have one screenshot of the Cloud and Aerith date. I don't know if I sent you this one. It's like behind them with like the fireworks when she's like leaning on his shoulder, like it's right near the end. That is like taking up a permanent spot on my secondary monitor. Like, I am not changing that for a long time. That's my favorite one. I think I took.
It'd be hard for me to pick a favorite. I sent you my like Sephiroth posed with that black and white filter. I'm pretty effing proud of that one. But I do have one of like Aerith like praying just before, and like there's a black feather on the screen.
I think I have one too.
Yeah, and like her eyes are super bright, and just like, anyway, it looks amazing. I love that one too. And it's got kind of live stream, like it's very vibrant color on my monitor. So anyway, I'm just, it's like, I'm so glad. It's like, this is what normal people must feel like about taking pictures when they go out to do things. It's just like, I have pictures from my journey.
It's like, if only I could recreate this feeling in real life. You can. It's a camera.
So it's like I get to see these pictures of my travels on my desktop. So anyway, I love it. I love it so much.
That's funny. Okay, why don't we take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk about some of these like silly rules that we've come up with. Well, not come up with, that we just do, and I think that'll be a fun way to end it off.
Perfect.
So we'll take a quick break. Don't forget, if you're watching and enjoying our FF7 obsession or any of the other stuff, don't forget to subscribe here and like the video. And we'll be back in a couple minutes. And I want to talk about. I'm excited to hear what yours are, because I don't think I know what any of yours would be.
Okay, cool.
Other than like, if you consider Tekken Grip one, which we both have. Like, that's the only like weird thing I know that you do with a game.
That's funny. That is one, but I wasn't quite sure if that counted. So,
I didn't write it down, but just now I'm like, oh, that definitely is one that we both do. That would count. So anyway, so we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk about that.
Sounds good. Okay, see you in a sec.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back. So yeah, like I mentioned at the top of the episode, we were talking briefly about how Matt and I both have these just weird preferences or self-imposed restrictions we put on ourselves for specific games, and it's not even for like a specific reason. It's just sometimes it's just no, this is just how this game feels like it should be played for me, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So Matt and I both came up with a list of some of these things, and we haven't told each other what each other's are. So I think it'll just be fun to kind of go down the list. To just because like I said before the break, I have no idea what yours are, and I'm interested to see what weird things you've given yourself to play. So I'll do one, and we'll go to you, and we'll just kind of bounce back and forth. So I guess I'll mention one that I kind of already mentioned at the beginning. So when it comes to Diablo, I think it started with Diablo 3, where me and a couple friends, we all picked that game up back God, I don't remember how long Diablo 3 was now. It was like 12 years ago or something crazy. And we were playing through it, got to the end, and Diablo's a game where you get to the end, but you keep amping up the difficulty and running dungeons, get more powerful gear. And it's just like that loop, right? To just keep doing things to get more powerful, so that you can do harder things, so you can get more powerful gear, etc. And we were playing it, and like in the beginning, we kind of did that for a little bit, and we're like, we just meh, like I don't want to do this is not that fun anymore to me. Like I don't know, it just wasn't clicking the way older Diablo games clicked, and I don't remember who suggested it. It might have been my friend Jordan that said it first. So Diablo has a mode where, and a lot of games like this have this mode that's called hardcore. And all that means is if you die, that character is gone. Yeah. If you die once, the character is, you have like what would you call it? Like a record of how long, how many hours and the highest difficulty you did things on, or whatever. You can look at all the stats of it, but you can never play it again. Yeah. It's like Diablo is a game that's based, you have to connect online to play, even though if you're playing by yourself, just meaning that you can't save a copy of that character, and it's no, it is gone if you lose. And so we're just let's just I think it was Jordan that suggested, but let's just try, see how far we can get on hardcore. And if you play Diablo in harder difficulties, you die a lot, and it's part of the the gameplay loop is dying and running back to your corpse or whatever. But so when you switch to hardcore, it's you have to it is a different game you have to play, and you can't crank the difficulty all the way to the up, because you get more experience and better drops, but you will die very easily if you do that. And since we did that, and we got maybe to level 10 or 12 and died, and oh, that was kind of fun, let's see how far we can get again. And to this day, I have never played Diablo 3 or now 4 on non-hardcore. It has only ever, it's that is just the only way, not the only way, but the best way to have fun in that game for me is just being on the edge of death constantly, sweating and panicking. But then because I have a character on Diablo 3, I think it's my wizard on that one. I think it has 180 hours played, and she's still alive. She has, and it's I've played that long with that character, and she's not died once.
Oh wow!
And I've definitely lost some that were in the 80 hours range, and it's just crazy. One thing, you get stuck in a corner, and these elite enemies come in, and I guess that I think it's the old man meme was guess I'll die. It's just So anyway, yeah, Diablo 3 and 4. Since that one time we did it, like very early on in Diablo 3, I have never not played that game in hardcore. And I can't, it's like, what's the point? If you die, you just come back. That's stupid. Like, I don't want to play that. Like, it's just, it's so changed the way that game is for me fundamentally. And like, Mike's the same. Like, me and him have played Diablo a lot together, and like, we're on the hardcore train. Yeah, it's the only way I know how to play that game, and I'll never not play it that way. So yeah, that's one of mine. It's so fun and so stressful. I was literally playing Diablo 4 because it was on sale a couple weeks ago, so I picked it up, and I got like I lost like a couple level 20-ish characters, because I was still kind of learning the nuance of Diablo 4 versus Diablo 3. Got like a barbarian to level 50, which was like sort of the max, and then a sorcerer to 50. I was leveling a rogue. I got to like 49, and it was just like I just got it was some of these enemies are like a type. They have like different affixes that, like, they'll teleport or summon things, or they'll shoot lava at you or whatever, and certain ones will blow up when they die. And I just killed it, was looting the stuff, wasn't paying attention, dead. Like one shot from the fucking explosion. And that character is now deleted. And I'm just like, all right, I'm done for now.
Yeah.
So I'll take a little break from this game.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's one of mine. And yeah, that's been an ongoing one for a long time.
This just to add to that very quickly, not one of mine, but one of my good friends, Cam. I think I mentioned this to you. Whenever he plays a game,
like
he plays the hardest difficulty right from the start, and it's mostly because trophy hunting. Sure. Because you'll usually get all of them if you beat it on the hardest, rather than having to do it again and again and again. Yeah. But it's like, that's not me. I
went through a phase of that. But I was like, I'm not enjoying these games though. So I dropped that one.
So that's like a big one. Like all of mine are a little bit more superficial, but
a lot of mine are too. That's just one of my bigger ones.
Let me think here. Like this one. This has been one of mine for a very long time, and it's whether it's not so much a preference thing. It's just like my brain is calibrated this way, so I don't think I can do it. I always, whenever I play a game, I always need to go and make sure that it's inverted y-axis.
Okay.
I cannot play with normal y. Like it's actually incredibly difficult. Okay. So yeah, that's like my number one thing is, okay, first things first, inverted y. Okay, what other options are there here? So
I feel like I made that switch a long time ago, and I've just like, now I'm just used to normal. I don't invert anymore. Yeah. I did for a long time, but probably sometime in like the PS3 era, I think I just switched, and I don't know.
So if there's a game that like you can't change it for whatever reason, it's just like, I'm terrible at this. For stupid reasons. Like, it's like, I think I'd normally be good at this if I could invert my y-axis. But anyway, that's one. So yeah.
One I have, this is like, I think this started after FF8, where now if I go back and play FF7 OG, Cloud has to be in the middle. I don't like when Cloud's at the top. He has to be in the center, because in 8, Squall is in the center by default. And I was like, he's the leader. He should be in the middle. Yeah. And so it's like, if I ever go back and play 7, it's like Cloud is always in the middle. I have to move him.
Rebirth, same thing.
I don't think you can move them.
I guess like if you go to character or combat settings and it's like the 1, 2, 3. I think you can.
No, if you can, I didn't. Okay. It's more like the visual of them being 3, side by side, and him being in the middle. I think it's just more like the visual.
Rebirth, they're all over the place.
Yeah. It's not a menuing preference. It's like a an aesthetic, of the battlefield preference, which
Yeah, especially
when it's static like that.
in OG RPGs where they were all like lined up on
Yeah,
two sides of the
exactly.
aisle, kind
Yeah,
of thing. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
gotcha.
And I feel like I'm sure I can't think of an example, but I know that extends to other. If it's a 3-person party and I can move them around, the leader will be in the middle.
In the
It's
middle,
just
yeah,
7
yeah.
is the one I vividly remember going back and be like, why is Cloud up there? Put him in the
Yeah.
middle.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I guess a similar rule for me, and I guess not so much a rule as it is maybe some sort of slight OCD tick, is that
Sure.
like
Those count.
yeah, for FF7 in materia, if it's blue and green, it's got to be green on the left and blue on the right. Anytime I accidentally do it the other way, especially like stream of consciousness of like, okay, I need a magnified barrier. Da, 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 da. Like, am I good? Nope. Ding. Okay, there. Now I'm good. It just looks very visually wrong to me if it's not green then blue.
I definitely will in Remake and Rebirth. Let's say I have like 3 materia slots, or how do I word this? Like,
Put
how
the
the
purple
busters.
ones together, kind of thing,
Well,
or
it's like if I have multicolored one, like let's say how the Buster Sword has 2 to begin with, but gets more
yeah, yeah,
as you upgrade it or whatever. It's like if I had green, green, purple,
yeah.
so that when I look at it on Cloud's back, it's green, green. I'm like, no, green. I want it to be like multicolor.
Multicolored,
So
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
do
yeah,
that
yeah.
just like for
Sure.
the aesthetic or whatever of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I do what you're saying just by default and not even realize it. I don't think so. I feel like I would
Just
recognize if I
whatever.
was bothered by that.
Yeah, no. Especially like I'll be like, am I ready to go? And then I don't know if you know this, it took me a while to figure this out. If you hit the touchpad, it
You can
brings
see
up like
everyone's.
everyone's.
Yeah.
It's like, am I ready to go? Mhm. Yep. Oh wait, nope. There, done. Okay, yeah, good to go.
When I watch
Uh,
people play and they have like empty materia slots on someone they're using, I'm just like, what the
what's
fuck's
wrong
wrong
with
with
you?
you?
Yeah. I mean, even people because you still get experience on people that you're not using.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
why do you have any empty spots ever of anything?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's
Do you
that, but
not
that's a me thing. That's 100% a me thing. It's not
That's
a.
just stupidity. Do you not like leveling up your materia?
What's another silly one? Oh, I do this a lot more now in recent years especially if I revisit older RPGs, especially older Final Fantasies. I definitely try to evenly level my party members now when I go back
Yeah,
and play
yeah,
games. I used to just pick 3, and then as soon as I got those 3 in the party, they're locked in and they're gonna be overpowered as fuck.
yeah, yeah,
But I feel like the last 2 or 3 maybe times that I've gone back and replayed some of the, especially Final Fantasies, and like Octopath, I definitely did this with Octopath. I would constantly rotate characters in to level everyone up as evenly as I could. I just like having that because inevitably you're gonna have to use them for a mission. They're gonna be forcing your party, and if they're level
yeah,
10 while everyone's level 40, it's just gonna be annoying.
yeah.
And then I think the last time I played OG7, I did the thing in that final fight where you switch parties.
Oh, the
Uh,
actual
like intended.
Bizarro Sephiroth
Yeah.
method.
I
Yeah, yeah.
actually did that. And it was definitely like a lot of fun because I was like, man, I've been playing this game for like 30 years and I've never done this fight the way it wants you to.
The last time I played OG, I did that exact same thing where it's like, oh yeah, this is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just like use Cloud with Ultima Weapon and do Octa Slash, whatever.
Yeah.
Like
4 times cut.
but yeah, exactly. Like no, actual like have some fun with this.
Yeah.
Different phases. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's one of mine is I definitely do the evenly level thing a lot more often now.
One of mine is that like I almost never and I can't think of a time in which I would do this. So it's like I'll say I never, with an asterisk that I just can't remember if I had done this.
Sure.
Like even on a third, fourth, fifth playthrough of a game I played 3, 4, 5 times, like change the names of the characters. Like when
Sure.
it's like, oh, hey, dot dot dot, bling, Cloud, and then you can kind of
Yeah.
XXX it.
If there's if they have a name that you can
Yeah.
erase and put your own in, obviously.
Yeah.
If it's an unnamed character, then yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
But yeah,
same.
I never do that. Even if it's just like, really, unlike your 5th time playing it, you didn't change it to Matt? No.
No.
It's like, no, it's Cloud.
I can think of 2 times that I did do it, but it was like to make it more canonically correct.
So I remember one that I did. Let's see if it's the same.
Well,
Go ahead.
you say what, because I bet it is. I bet one of them is the same.
I guess it's not canonically correct, but like I guess I did it once where I renamed Red 13 to Nanaki.
Yep, that's one of them. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
What's the other one?
I sometimes when I would play Chrono Trigger, I would name Frog Glenn.
Glenn.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's like those are the 2 things that I can think of having done. Mostly just anyway, but yeah, it's I do that said, I do like it on like SGDQ or something when they have a poll.
Oh yeah, it's not like I'm fundamentally against doing it. It's like for my playthrough, I don't want them calling Cloud Garrett. It's like, no, it's fucking Cloud. I want to watch Cloud be Cloud.
Yeah.
I don't need I have seen playthroughs of people who like name everyone like dude, and that is kind of funny when that stuff like that happens. But yeah, it definitely is funny in the GDQs when they have like meme names or whatever, and usually they'll donate because they know there's one scene in this game that this is going to be very funny.
Really funny. Yeah, exactly. And my best friend Bill did. He played FF6 for the first time quite recently, but he was like, I hear there's a shit ton of characters in this game, so I'm just gonna rename them as people that we know, and I'll let you know who it is or whatever. Okay. So it's like someone was named Eleanor for his daughter, and then someone was named Rory, same name as his dog, and he's like, oh, Gao got named Rory, and I'm just like, oh, that's awesome. But when I play, I don't want that experience. I find it funny when other people do, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have one that's like sort of similar that I'll just sort of build off of that. I would say there has been a time where I've done this, but it's very rare. So I'll say like 95% of the time when I'm playing through a game, especially if it's like character focused, if there's like alternate costumes, it's like
mine here.
Default costume. It's like pure run run for the first time through. Sometimes on second playthroughs or New Game Plus, or then I'll fool around with some of those. Like Resident Evil, I think of sometimes because like you definitely get different outfits for like Leon and Claire and the remakes and like in 4 remake and stuff. And it's like, but like when I'm doing my first, and it's not even like first ever playthrough. It's just like I'm revisiting this game again, and I'm doing my initial playthrough. If it is a game that I might, do new game plus, and it's like no, that first one, it's like pure run first. It's like I got to do that.
I'm surprised you had, because I had this as well.
Oh really?
Yep. And it's kind of hard to explain. Like it's even if it's not like. So how do I articulate this? So it'll be like there's kind of 2 flavors of this, I think. Like it'll be like, oh, you've unlocked this outfit and it's like absurd.
Right.
And it's like, no, like, you know what? I'm trying to immerse myself in the game, and that's just a little much. Like it doesn't it's not what I want. But like even I still had a tough time with Clive. Like you get like kind of a dark
the free update that
like the brimstone kind of one, whatever. It's like, and I was like, that's fucking cool, but it's not like supposed to be like that, you know?
Yeah.
And then even like Joshua's was like really cool as well. And and
I did change Jill's because I feel like hers still fits the world. Like it doesn't look
yeah,
way out of left field or whatever. And I did change Torgal because he just looked cool.
yeah.
But yeah, Clive and Josh, I was like, no, I don't want to
And,
use those.
and it was just like it's so close because it's still quite subtle. Like it's
Yeah.
not, it's like just black with kind of, red pulsating kind of bits here and there. And it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, but that's so fucking cool. But it's like, I just have trouble with gimmicky costumes. I
Yeah.
think is maybe what it is. And so it, I, it took a lot in me to kind of in my hard playthrough of Rebirth, I was like, I have to do the swimsuits. I just have
Yeah.
to. And it was a little silly at times.
There's some cutscenes I can think of that would be
Yeah,
very weird for Cloud to be shirtless.
yeah. And so with Cloud, I did like the Chocobo shirt,
Yeah,
whatever. And Aerith's was the was her kind of dress one.
yeah.
But Tifa just full on bikini in the Temple of the Ancients, where I'm just like, this is inappropriate.
And the scene I'm thinking of is like when Cloud's like chasing Aerith and he's just shirtless.
Yeah, exactly. So like
He's
it's
doing that weird run.
yeah,
Aerith.
yeah. And so like it was like the Costa del Sol outfits are so like good. It's like I have to go through a playthrough
Yeah,
with
yeah.
these because they're so good. But
I think I
it
threw
did,
them on when I was doing a big run of a bunch of combat sim stuff. I think I had thrown them on for like a good couple of hours while going through a bunch of combat things.
yeah.
I don't think I could do the cutscenes with them on. I still think I'd have a hard time making that switch, even though I've watched all of those cutscenes now like 4 times between my playthroughs and watching others.
It took a lot in me, but I was like, you know what? Like it's gonna be awesome, and like
Yeah, yeah.
and like the cutscenes with like them just in like swimwear the entire time was just it's like because I found myself taking screen caps of the same scenes, and so it's like at least I got two versions of this now. But anyway, yeah. So
That's
OG
funny.
costumes, anything, especially if it's gimmicky,
Yeah.
people are like that's hilarious. It's like yeah, it's hilarious. Not what I want to go through. Like it, I think the immersion gets
That's
taken
probably
out
what
of the
it
whole
is.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Except when it comes to Tekken.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need them to look like their default costumes in Tekken.
And like I think
Not
I
Mike
go
level,
not
but just, different looks.
and I think like I I play with OG costumes like religiously for a little while. Like it's just like okay,
Yeah, true. I definitely, because I like the way they look in, when you get a new iteration,
yeah,
it's like, because they have new outfits in, Tekken 8, everyone's default is like,
yeah,
is different now. And so I definitely like did play those for a bit, and then once I got enough money to like make a couple outfits for a couple characters, like okay,
yeah.
now we'll
Especially
get silly.
yeah, shock value for online play is
Yeah.
is part of it. So yeah.
Um. What was that? Oh, oh yeah. No, I said that one. The leveling evenly one. Well, another one I do is. Oh, I know I've told you about this one before. Final Fantasy 12. Someone had suggested me at some point to play that with ATB turned on, such that when you're giving commands in 12, it doesn't pause. It's kind of like, it's funny because that's kind of like what Remake does, is the pause, and I love that. And I
Yeah.
don't dislike it. I just feel like you have to give. No, you do have to give a lot of commands in Remake. It probably wouldn't. And it's not. It's actually. I should specify. It's not that it bothered me that you have to pause. It just made it way more challenging
Oh yeah.
to have to menu in that game without pausing. And so someone had suggested that. I think this was like way back when I like first started live streaming, like 15 years ago or some shit.
Oh wow.
Because that was one of the first games that I like live streamed, and I think someone suggested like, like if you want, try playing it with this turned on or whatever. And I
Yeah.
did, and I was like, oh man, I will turn it off for like some of like, it's like, especially like there's like a couple boss fights I know that it's like I don't want to do this. I don't want to restart this fight because I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
menu fast enough.
Yeah.
But just generally going through the game, and most boss fights, I definitely will play with ATB turned on, and that makes that game like way more intense.
Yeah. 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 I'm
Playing
sure.
through.
Uh, I got one that can be kind of coupled into two. If in a lot of games, I will usually like to play with Japanese voices, especially if it's kind of a JRPG. But exceptions, obviously, like I remember FF16 was designed, or
Right.
what did you say? Kind of
It
like,
was like intended to be English, like
yeah,
primary, like as its primary. I forget what I said too,
yeah,
but yes,
exactly,
the
kind of
director said you should
localization.
play this with English voices because it's like lip synced for English, not Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of if a game is like originally Japanese, or kind of if because I remember playing a couple of games where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is clearly a bit more polished towards the Japanese
Sure,
language, and so that, and I maybe this is just getting old, but like I always put subtitles on now,
sure,
because I usually play with the music louder than some of the other stuff, and then but sometimes the music drowns out the dialogue a bit.
sure.
So having subtitles on, but yeah, those are just kind of some optimizations I'll always do related to the voice.
So I am painfully annoying at setting up my game that
Yeah,
because I don't like subtitles if it's in English.
yeah,
Because I feel like it just draws my eyes away from, and I'd rather if I know what they're saying and I don't need to read it, I would rather just not have the text there because it's too distracting for me.
yeah,
So I will, and that's why like this is a perfect example of why I would play the Rebirth demo. It's like because I want to go in and figure out all these settings now, so that
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't do
yeah,
that when I'm playing the actual game, and I will
yeah,
take like an hour to find like the right mix. And then
yeah,
like I have like a little mini amplifier that I plug my headphones into, and I can adjust some settings on that to make the voices more audible or whatever. And so I will configure that stuff to an annoying degree, um, uh, just so that I can play it without subtitles
yeah,
and still fully experience it. I used to be way more like, oh, it's a JRPG, Japanese voices then. Like I used to do that just by default, but I
yeah,
feel like as I started to like follow more voice actors and like actually like pay more attention to the actual voice actors that are in these games,
yeah,
I feel like now I'm at a point where it's like let me listen to both, and then I'll just like usually for me it's like this voice just looks better or sounds better with this character than
more
that voice
appropriate.
does.
Yeah,
Language
yeah, yeah,
aside, um, that will if I'm not attached to the voice actors already, then that will be like my deciding factor. Like let me listen to
yeah,
both and see which one looks, if I like them both equally, like in terms of the performance or the quality of the voice acting, and
yeah,
I'm not attached to the voice cast,
yeah.
I'll which voice just sounds better for these characters, and
And I'll kind of say that's kind of what I'm trying to articulate. It's not that like
yeah,
my rule is Japanese voices only. It's like uh,
yeah. Sorry,
see,
I'm saying that used to be my rule, where it's like no,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
always Japanese. It's just it's no secret that the Japanese ones are usually more polished on a Japanese game because
yeah,
they, you know, the Japanese like voice actors in games are like movie stars here. Like
yeah,
in terms
yeah,
of the caliber of the talent you get on every single project. Whereas
yeah,
here, the big budget projects usually pull in the big names, but
yeah,
some of the smaller ones maybe don't, and so just they don't have as much time to polish the voice work or the directing of the scenes and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
but it's like, now I just feel like I've I am such a bigger fan of a lot of voice actors in English now that it's like,
Yeah.
if I'm unsure, I'm like, well, let me see who's in this game first. And if there's like 3 or 4 people that, oh, I know them from Critical Role or whatever, it's like, I'll play it in English then because I want to hear their performance. Like there's and I was set on initially I was gonna play Rebirth in Japanese when I watched like the first big like actual full trailer that they did before E3.
Rebirth or remake?
Sorry, remake.
Okay, yeah.
Because then I was a little more in my, oh, it's Japanese. I'm just going to default
Yeah.
to Japanese voices. And truly, it was when I saw Brianna's video, like announcing she was the voice of Aerith and like talking
Yeah.
about how much she loved. I was like, oh well, I don't even think I heard the English one yet. I'm like, let me actually watch this in English. I was like, oh, like this is pretty good. I'll play this in English then.
Yep.
A lot of it was because of her and like how much she clearly loved doing the project, right? So, and I'm leaned more towards that now. Like, let me see who's in it first, and if I don't have a preference based off who's in, if I don't have people that I'm big fans of that are in it, then I'll listen to both and see which one sounds better.
Yep. Yeah. And I remember, and like the kind of weird, almost backwards result was I remember playing Ghost of Tsushima, and like which is set in Japan but is like an American dev kind of game. And then like I feel like they had a patch or an update, whatever, where like the Japanese voice acting was kind of better dubbed or
it was the lip sync was done for Japanese audio.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't it wasn't in the original. You could turn Japanese audio on, but the lip sync it didn't match because it was they were speaking English and it was just the Japanese voice track over top.
But then kind of playing it that way, it was like, oh, okay, like this is a game set in set in Japan with Japanese characters and Japanese voice acting. Like that was pretty cool. That was really fun.
I'm glad they eventually added that. Yeah, because that made it way just more authentic looking, even though it wasn't a Japanese game. I wanted them to speak Japanese because it was a bunch of samurai. But it bothers me too much when their voices or the lip flaps don't match. So it was like the director's cut or whatever that they added that as a feature.
Right. But I think that's it for my list actually. So I don't know what else you have.
I got, I guess, 2 others. So this one's not as exciting, but it's another case of like, it's kind of like the Diablo thing where it's like, this game's not that fun. And someone was like, oh, well, just do this thing. And I'm like, this is the best fucking game I've ever played in my life. So I've played a few of like the Tales games. The 2 that I more recent ones that I beat was like Tales of Arise came out a couple years ago. And a few years, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, Tales of Berseria was another game that I played, and I bought it because it was like I think I watched a review for it or something, or someone was telling me about it. It's pretty dark. Like the opening is very dark, and it's like an anti-hero lead character. It's like no real moral compass. She's like just like major revenge plot. Anyway, it's very dark tones in the beginning, and that interests me because if that's done well, I enjoy stories like that. And so I picked that up, and Tales games combat can sometimes feel like they're just trying to make it way too complicated, just like with not enough benefit to it. Like it's like almost throwing too much at you, almost like Rebirth sort of does in the beginning, where you're just like, there's so much to this combat, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Not quite. This did it a little heavier, I feel like, but once it clicks, it's like actually Tales of Berseria of all the Tales games is like my favorite combat system. It's very, very fun. And very unique because I never really played one that's like it. But it was like it felt very button mashy because it was just like once you figure out the combat, it's like it's this would be like if I played Rebirth on normal instead of dynamic for me. I would
Yeah,
have probably felt this. Like I'm just destroying everything and it's not a challenge.
yeah,
Um, and that was happening in Berseria, where it was like this combat is fun, but like I am in no danger at
yeah.
any point of dying. And I think I don't know if I was live streaming that or if I was just a friend of mine that was the one that recommended it to me, saw that I was playing it. Cause I think it was my friend Reese, I think. And I was telling him that like, yeah, like I like it, but like I'm just mashing A and I'm killing everything. Like, so I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, I just like, nah, I might play a little more, but I don't think I'll finish it. And he's like, dude, put it to hard mode. And like right out of the gate, turn it on hard. Don't play on normal or whatever. Normal's way too easy for this game. And so I was like, okay, like I guess like I'll try. And it was like, oh, I'm never not playing this game on hard. It is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because the whole thing with the combat in that game, just very briefly, is like there's like you have what I would call, I forget what they're actually called, but I would call they're like combo points. And let's say if you have 3 combo points, you can do 3 attacks in a combo, more or less. There's some
Yeah.
nuance to it. But it's like if you have at least 3, you can do this move because she's like half demon basically, like she turns into like half demon, and she like lets her demon arm out and like attacks something, and that takes away one of your combo points, and it like I think it like just starts draining your health constantly. But as
Yeah.
long as you're in this demon mode, you can't die, and as long as you're attacking and you don't like finish your combo, then you don't turn back.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
every time you kill something, you get a combo point back, and you need at least 3 combo points to do that move to like re-enter your demon, or like not necessarily re-enter, but like refresh your demon form.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just like the momentum of like just trying to kill something fast enough to get another combo point because you're at like 1 HP, just
Yeah.
to like keep, because you do so much more damage when you're in this mode. And on hard, you have to do that because they're just a lot harder and have more HP.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it's like this tug of war the whole fight.
Against death, essentially. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like it's so much more fun. And anytime I go back and play that game again, it's like it has to be on hard. I can't play that game on normal anymore because it's like it completely changes the battle system.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one that I do that is like no no negotiating. It's on hard no matter what. I don't care. I tried, so Tales of Arise is newer, and that came out like 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, oh, it's probably the same, play it on hard, right? And I tried it. I'm like, this is not fun. It's not, because it's different combat system, right? So I was like,
okay.
okay, I'll play this one on normal. And I played all the way through it, just normal. And then my last one, this is one I've done for a long time. It stopped recently because the newer games would be impossible for me to do this way. But and I feel like you've heard me talk about this before, but it's like my Zelda like 3 heart runs that I would do in the 3D Zeldas. So
Okay.
and I've done this for Ocarina of Time through, what was the last one? Skyward Sword before Breath of the Wild, where um when I played, because I had played Ocarina of Time at least like 30 times. Like I played that game so many times. um so when I go through those games, and this isn't necessarily like every time I go play them I won't do this, it's just a challenge I sort of just did for myself, and then I wanted to do it on all of them, is when every time you beat a boss, you just don't pick up the heart
Don't pick up the
container,
heart.
and you
Yeah.
just don't find heart pieces, which is fine in and of itself because you got to beat the game with 3 hearts. Which by the end of the game, most things one shot you because you're
Yeah.
meant to have more hearts. Plus, I think all of the 3D Zeldas you get a like half damage upgrade of some kind.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're basically taking 6 hearts per hit or whatever.
Yeah.
But what I'll do, because I started doing that, I was like, oh well, if I have 4 fairies and bottles, it's still easy, and so I also do it with like no revives.
Wow.
So I would like not do any fairy and bottles. I think I would get. I don't even know if I would get like a health potion because like one hit
What's
I'm
the
dead
point?
anyway.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do. I don't know if those older games like gave you like temporary hearts or anything. I don't think they did, but yeah, it was like 3 hearts, no revives. Skyward Sword's a little different because it starts at 6 hearts. But I did the same thing. I just didn't pick up.
Yeah.
And those were some of them were hard.
I imagine. Jeez.
Skyward Sword, I remember, took me a while in the last like couple of fights because the entire last like 2 phases of the final boss, literally anything he does kills you. If you get hit by one thing, you're dead. And so those took a lot, but I didn't do that for Breath of the Wild because you're already dying to one hit, like normal.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not gonna do that challenge I beat Master Mode on Breath of the Wild. I'm considering that the evolution of my own challenge.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, the Zelda like 3 heart no revive thing, and I know like that's not that impressive now because I know a lot of people have played that game to death, randomizers and all these crazy like mods and stuff. But it's like for me, this was back when we was like still living at home, so in high school or something.
Yeah.
Doing those challenges, and yeah, I did that for pretty much all the 3D Zeldas before Breath of the Wild. That was like just a random challenge. I was just like, because I played it so many times.
Yeah.
Just like find a way to just make it, which is what people are doing now. You just have mods to do it, like randomizers and that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's most of the ones I could think of just these weird rules. Or
I'll say one more that I'm thinking of just as you're describing that is that like a rule that maybe I don't always follow or that I ultimately do it is like if you're just like die, it's like, you know what? Go to bed. Do this tomorrow. You will one-shot this first thing in the morning. Like you and I have talked about this, like God of War always comes to mind where like trying to the Valkyrie fight, and it's like I need to be fucking perfect to do this apparently, and like I
can't take a break because I'll forget everything.
Yeah, and then there's certain times where I don't follow that rule and just like again, finally do it. Okay, fuck you. TV off. I'm going to bed. And then 2 hours later, my heart rate is finally allowing me to fall asleep. It's like, this was a bad idea. But sometimes it's, you know what? You're just fatigued. Like you're just having like, failure fatigue, whatever. Go to bed, get a coffee, go down to the basement and just tackle it again. And you'll probably get pretty close to doing it.
That's happened so many times where I did that, and then first try when I come back, I did the thing I couldn't do before or whatever.
And it's because you're not as stressed, and there's so many times where like when the stakes aren't as high, going through this kind of playthrough of the quests in order to get the party animal whatever quest, it's just like. Some of these chocobo flights that I was having so much trouble on, like, perfect score first time. I was like, why couldn't I have fucking done that when I was trying to do this the first time? Like, it's because you don't care, Matt. That's why. But anyway, whatever. Like go to bed. You're tired. I'm not fucking tired. I'm just stupid and I can't figure this out. I'm just terrible at this game, and this game sucks, and everything sucks, and I hate everything. That sounds like someone who's just tired.
That sounds like someone who's enjoying their hobby.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's good stuff. And then the Tekken Grip is the one that's for both of us. Which I will say, so Tekken I have to play with the Tekken Grip.
Yeah.
Street Fighter I have to play with an arcade stick. And like I don't play it as much, but when I would play Soul Calibur, I play that normal, the normal controller way. It's like just the way I learned to play those games. And Street Fighter, I think I just developed the preference for the arcade stick because like the inputs for that game are just easier for me on a stick.
They're designed for an analog. Yeah.
But it's like, I just have to. Those are like 3 games I just have to play that way because, Anyway, but the Tekken Grip reigns supreme. I'll never retire
That's
that.
the best.
And I tried playing it. I was like, maybe because I'm doing it this way, an arcade stick would make sense. And I tried it. And I was like, these buttons are too big. I need them to just be like
little guys.
too close together. But anyway. Okay, that's what I wanted to talk about. I thought that would be fun to discuss these weird, just nonsensical rules. But it's like, if Cloud's not in the middle, then I don't want to play it. It has to be that way.
And if my green materia isn't in the left slot, then that isn't going to work very well. Then that support materia isn't going to help.
Okay, cool. So we'll call it there. Next time we'll probably, if you have a chance to do the 16 DLC by then, we could talk about that. But no pressure, obviously. Whatever you're playing next, doesn't matter. Don't prioritize that if you don't need to. I'll probably talk about Stellar Blade because I'm playing through that now. And it's impressing me a lot. I went in, so I'll say this so far. I was going into it kind of just being like, it's a relatively unknown developer who's I think only ever made mobile games. This is their first like proper console like AAA game. It's like cool like third person character action game, pretty over the top. People have made the comparison to Nier, which I don't think is super fair because it's like very different fighting style than Nier to me. I think it's like, to me, I was trying to place it today, and it's like, I think it's like God of War, Bayonetta, and like maybe like Revengeance are all like a little bit of all those 3 are sort of in the way this game feels to play.
Oh, that's awesome.
And just like it's like moving around the world and it's combat and definitely got like God of War vibes because you get like special moves or whatever that you build a meter for kind of thing. And anyway, it's got like really good parrying. Like that's why I think of like Revengeance, but it's like super over the top, like crazy, physics defying finishing moves. Like that's like Bayonetta feel sort of in there. And like slow motion dodges like Bayonetta. Anyway, I think it's somewhere between those 3 games. The music, I will say, is very fair to give the Nier comparison. There's definitely a lot of tracks that, you could copy paste this into Nier Automata and it would fit right in. Not all of them. Some of them are more unique to this game. But there's been like 4 or 5 times, and I've only been playing it for like, 2 days, that I've like stopped and literally out loud be like, are you kidding me with this music? Like, holy shit. Like I just wasn't expecting it. So I kind of went into it with like a lower bar just because unknown developer and always looked great, but that could only go, so far. It might just be a very pretty game and not a very fun one. But so I'll talk about it more when I'll probably be finished by the time we record again. Or at least way deeper into it, but I'm loving it so far.
I mean, from what you said, and I've seen some brief things online about it, it looks awesome. And if you give it kind of the Revengeance Bayonetta kind of style, like anyways, that sounds wicked. I'll definitely put that on my list.
I think like God of War, Bayonetta, Revengeance, it's like if you do a Venn diagram of those 3 games, it's somewhere in in the connecting pieces of that, I think.
Oh, awesome.
And then with like Nier music like background for the graph.
Oh, cool.
But anyway, so we'll talk about that, and then we'll see what you're up to by that point. And I don't know when it'll be necessarily, but now that Rebirth is done, we're on a much more flexible kind of schedule. So
Exactly. So I guess it depends on how long it'll take me to get these last 2
yeah.
combat sims. So I'll go to bed and I'll get up in the morning. I'll try again.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That
Yeah,
sounds good.
I'll keep you
Uh,
posted.
right on. Okay. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. And thanks everyone for listening. If you guys have a weird video game rule that you put on yourself for no reason other than just making the game more fun, just let us know in the comments. Yeah, it's just a silly thing that I don't know why I do it for some games, but it's just, I'm way more fun playing the game that way.
Yeah, it's that's what's the beauty about, video games is it's just like you can put whatever rules and play however you want and do
Yeah.
whatever you want. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of
cool.
weird rules and stuff, I think oh no, it's only April. GDQ is probably not. I was gonna say like, oh man, is that coming up soon? But it'll probably be like June, July. So anyway, that makes me think of like weird categories and stuff they do for games. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of the vibe of those. But anyway, yeah. So we'll talk about Stellar Blade next time, and I'll probably talk about. I don't know if I talked about Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Maybe I'll talk a bit about that, but I'll have plenty to say about Stellar Blade whenever we get to that. So we'll just pick up there next time.
Cool. All right.
All right. Thanks,
Well,
Matt.
Thanks everyone. Cheers.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys later.